Becky. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, if you're already subscribed to me, I'm glad you're back to visit with me today. Today I have a parenting video, and I have not done a parenting video and I feel like forever. I have a whole playlist about like my parenting tips and about raising kids and how to have siblings that get along and all of those things, but I have not done one of those in a very, very long time. And I feel like today's video is pretty unique. I haven't seen any other videos like this on YouTube. I definitely haven't seen anything like this on YouTube from people who I feel like are in my same kind of genre on YouTube. So stay-at-home moms, homeschool moms, work-at-home moms. I haven't seen anybody that I watch talking about this, and I don't think I actually subscribe to anybody that has an older child that's as old as mine. My oldest daughter is 17 and is finishing up her junior year of high school as I'm filming this. She's already doing some college classes, so I feel like I am ahead of the game in a lot of ways in the homeschool realm because I do have an older child that's already in high school, and also just in general. I have a 17-year-old and an 11-year-old, and I feel like nobody that I watch has a kid that's that far into the teen years. She's almost an adult. And over the last few months in particular, I've been getting so many comments and questions about like how we're going to change things. Are we going to change things now that she's almost an adult? She will not be 18 until February of 2022, but given the fact that she's already taken college classes, we're already planning so much for her future, and things are already starting to change quite a bit in her life, I feel like I am definitely capable to make this video right now, and I may make another one down the road when she's actually 18 or 19 or something like that. But for now, this is kind of the direction we're headed. My tips on raising an older child that's almost 18 or over 18, and my perspective on things for right now. So the first thing I think that is a misconception about parenting an older child, specifically 18, is now that they're 18, I'm done. My parenting job is done. I can wash my hands, I can relax, I can rest, I can take the rest of the time off. Nothing, in my opinion, can be farther from the truth. In my opinion, your child will need you now more than they ever have before. Now more than ever, they're gonna have more temptations and more opportunities to mess up than they ever have before. They're gonna be making some of the most important decisions in their life, and do you expect them to do that alone? Do they expect to have to do it alone? They shouldn't expect that, and neither should you. So turning 18, in my opinion, is not the time to stop parenting. It is time to kick it into high gear. Just because they're 18 or over, and they or you think that things have to change significantly, they really don't. Sure, being 18 can afford you more freedom and responsibility, but that doesn't mean that you should not expect them to need you, and they should not expect that they won't need you, because that is completely incorrect. A true sign of maturity is accepting the fact that you will need help all throughout your life and being able to accept that help when you need it. That's a really huge step. So even though they're 18, they're making more decisions, they have more freedoms, hopefully they've got more responsibilities to go along with those freedoms, but they're still gonna need you. And if they don't expect to need you, that's a mistake that they're gonna make and probably learn from the hard way. And the same thing for you. If you expect them to be 18 and completely independent and not need you, not need your opinion, not need your input, I think you are doing them a disservice by not helping them with these decisions and these things they're gonna be doing from now on in their adult life. So something I think is really important, and I touched on this before in a different video, but rules without relationships equal rebellion. And that is the case for a young child all the way up to an older child, a teenager, an adult. You can't expect your child to respect you and value your opinion if you are first not modeling good behaviors and good decisions on your own. So you need to be setting a good example and practicing what you preach. But you should also really be working and focusing on creating, growing, and maintaining a strong relationship with each child individually. So, I've tried really hard as the girls have grown, since they were babies. I've tried really hard to not just be their parent, not just be their homeschool mom, not just be their caregiver, not just be their cook and their chef and their chauffeur and all that stuff, but I've also tried to incorporate friendship there. I know some people say, well, you can't be friends with your kids. I highly disagree with that. I think you definitely can be friends with your kids as long as you remember that you are parent first, friend second. That doesn't mean that you can't be their friend. That doesn't mean you can't have that relationship. You can't spend time with them. You can't do things that they enjoy. They can't do things that you enjoy. That friendship is super, super important, especially as you get closer and closer to having an adult child. They're probably not going to need you as much for those basic fundamental things. They can probably drive themselves places. They can probably pay for more of their own things. They're doing a lot more of that stuff independently. but they still need you as a friend and a parent. So having that relationship is really, really important, and it's especially important when you are correcting them. Whether they're a child or a teenager, when you're correcting them, if you have that relationship and that trust built up with them, I think it makes it a lot easier to give them guidelines, give them rules, give them boundaries. So I think that's really important. So rules without relationships equal rebellion. So just kind of remember that as you're parenting your kids, no matter how old they are. The foundation of your relationship needs to be really strong so that when you do correct them, they know that it's coming from a place of love and you doing what's best for them, and not you just kind of like trying to lord over them with your authority. It's also really important, especially as they get older, because the more they value your opinion, the more they trust you as a parent, the more they value you as a friend, they're more likely to come to you when they have problems, when they need your help, when they need opinions, when they've made a mistake. They're more likely to come to you for those things if they have that foundation of love and respect and friendship kind of at the bottom and the foundation of everything. Something else I think is really important to point out that I know is very, very common is a child that uses their adulthood, their over 18 status as a weapon is really only showing their maturity. If they're trying to hold that over your head, I'm 18 now, I can do this. I'm 18 now, I can do that. It kind of reminds me of like when you were a kid and somebody asked your parents how old you were and they said that you were 10 and you're like, I'm 10 in 4 months. You know, like it's just so bratty and immature to just point that out. So like I said, nothing really shows more immaturity than using that over 18 card as a weapon. It's a very dangerous weapon for a young adult to use, because you as the parent can then say, okay, if you're over 18 and you've got all these rights and things that you think are things you deserve, then there are consequences that can come from that. You know, being 18 and over isn't just fun stuff. It's not just more freedom. It really should also be more responsibilities to go along with it. So if you have a child that just repeatedly is throwing that up to you and trying to use that as a weapon against you, and that would be a time that you might want to say, okay, if you want to be an official adult and take care of everything, then you pay rent, you pay for your car, you pay for your car insurance, you pay for your food, you pay for your, you know, your laundry, whatever. They should not be using that over 18 status as a weapon to try to control everything, especially if they are being supported fully or semi-fully by someone else. And as a parent, you might have to remind them of that. Being over 18 is not a no strings attached status. It may mean more freedom, but it should definitely also mean more responsibility. You can't take the good with the bad, and like I said, you cannot be 100% supported by someone else or even partially supported by someone else and expect 100% freedom. So for an example, now this hasn't happened, but for an example, our 17-year-old, we pay for her phone. We bought the phone, we pay for the services. Whether she's 17, 18, 19, if we're still doing that, I'm not saying we're going to do that, I'm just saying if we were doing that and she was misusing the phone, she was, you know, breaking it, losing it, doing things that, you know, we didn't want her to do, that would be the time that we would say, okay, if you are going to continue to abuse this or misuse this, then you need to find a way to pay for it on your own. And so that would be her time to say, okay, either you can pay for it 100% on your own. If she can, great, go ahead and do that. You're free to go ahead and do that, and that way you can control your phone however you want. But if they can't do it or they won't do it, then, you know, I'm technically the one that owns the phone. I'm the one paying for the services, so therefore I am the one that controls how the phone is used. If it's being mistreated and misused, then that is my time to say, okay, pay for it yourself or live by the rules that we have set for it, you know, and take care of the things that we have provided for you. So whether they're 18 or 80, if you are using someone else's property, then they need to be respectful of that and abide by your wishes when they're using something that does not even belong to them. So something else I think is important, whether you have an 18-year-old or a 20-year-old or a 30-year-old or a 60-year-old, however old your child is, people have said to me, what are you going to do after they're 18? How are you going to be different? I'm not going to be any different whatsoever. I'm going to be the exact same as I am now. And somebody has said before in the past, and I've heard in the past, like, well, they're 18 now, so I can't say anything. Yes, you can. You can be respectful, but you can still give your opinion. I may not be able to control my child or what they want to do or change their opinion, but I can still definitely give them mine. And you can do that without being overbearing, but you do, I personally think that you should still give your opinions. You should still tell them if you think they're making a bad decision. They can do whatever they want at that point. You can't control what they're going to do, but you can still give them your input because you are still parenting them. They are still your child. You are still older. You still know more for the most part. You have more life experience. Giving up because they're 18 and thinking, well, They're 18 now, I can't say anything. Yes, you absolutely can. I'm 40 years old and I still ask for my parents' opinions because I value your opinion. I realize they have a lot more knowledge than I do about a lot of things. They have a lot more life experience than I do. And because of that relationship I mentioned earlier, I know they have my best interests at heart, and they're not going to tell me something that they don't truly feel is the best thing for me to do and the best choice for me to make. Does that mean they're always right? No. Does that mean that what they would have done is necessarily better than what I would do? Not necessarily. But I still ask their opinion, and then I weigh what they say with what I think, and then I make a decision. And I don't ask for other people's opinions because I'm weak. I ask for other people's opinion because I understand the value of other people and what they have to bring to a scenario or a decision to make. So I think it's really important to never stop parenting. Don't give up. Don't stop just because your child's over 18. There are nice, respectful ways that you can give your opinion, but in mine, I think you should still give it. Another thing I think is really important, especially as you have an older child who may be getting busier with a job or college classes or a significant other, try your very, very best and to keep them and encourage them to stay in church. So everybody needs like-minded people in their lives, especially as Christians. We need other like-minded Christians in our lives. It's very, very important. So I definitely plan on continuing to go to church as a family. Even if we don't go to in-person services, we can watch it together online based on people's schedules. You know, whatever we have to do to try to make sure that we are still watching church as a family. Try to make sure that your child stays involved in like a college ministry or life groups or things like that. This could also be a really good time for them to volunteer in church, maybe lead some younger kids in Bible lessons or Awana or Sunday school. Maybe start a Bible study with some of their closer friends from church or their closer friends from, you know, school, wherever they're going. Whatever it takes to keep God in the forefront of their lives, because now is especially important to keep God in their lives and make him a priority and make him a foundation of their life. They've got so many temptations, so many decisions, so many opportunities to make lots of mistakes. And when you have a strong foundation in Christ, it's going to be a lot easier to kind of avoid those pitfalls. And not to say that people in church, and not to say that church is perfect, because church is run by people and people are sinners. But as a rule, it is better to be with other people who are more like-minded. And it can be so easy to fall into crowds and groups that we think we're strong enough in our faith and they're not going to affect us, and maybe they won't, but it's going to be a lot better if they are strong in their faith and surrounding themselves with like-minded Christians as much as possible. The last thing I think is really, really critical, especially as your child gets older, is to never stop praying for them. You know, you pray for so many different things. When you're pregnant, you pray for a safe and healthy baby. You pray for a first good day at kindergarten. You pray that they pass their college, their high school classes, and they get their driver's license and they're good drivers and they find the right relationships and all that. And all of those prayers are really important, but the decisions that they make now between the ages of 18 and 28 are some of the most important decisions that they're going to make in their entire lives, or some of the decisions that will affect them for their entire life. And so never stop praying for them and keep asking God to guide their lives and guide their decisions. So those were my 7 tips on how to parent an adult child. Like I said, she's not 18 yet. She's 17. She'll be 18 in February. This is my perspective so far, and I definitely do not see myself changing my opinion on any of these things. And especially as somebody who rebelled in my early 20s, I kind of rebelled late, but I did have a little bit of a rebellion in my early 20s. And looking back now, I can see all of these things that my parents were doing that I thought was so annoying at the time. But now I look back and realize how right it was, how they were giving me their opinion even when I did not want to hear it and I did not believe them. Even if I believed them, I think I secretly kind of pushed it down and thought, they don't know what they're talking about. I know now looking back that all of these things that I'm telling you guys that I am gonna do is pretty much exactly what my parents have done and have continued to do even now that I'm 40 years old. They're still great parents. They're still praying for me. They're still giving me their opinion. They're still helping me when I need it. You know, they're doing all of these things because that's what I think good parents do. They never, ever, 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 ever stop parenting. And that's what I planned to not stop doing either. So I hope this video was helpful. Hopefully it answered some questions for you guys. I'll link my parenting playlist for you. There's tons of videos in that playlist all about parenting and mom advice and tips and tricks. So make sure you check that out. Don't forget to subscribe before you head out, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.